Welcome into another episode of the podcast troops. I am fucking buzzing for this one, mainly because it's a pretty rare circumstance, to be fair. I've got Dean Craig here, who I went to school with, so we'll be able to pick up some different components of probably how I was at school and how Dean was at school, because we were very different people from what we are now, which is going to be sort of interesting to unravel. But Dean is the owner of Reject Weakness, an awesome brand that's crushing it in the gym clothing space. Yep. He's recently just entered into a pretty cool venture as well to scale things a bit further, which I'm sure he won't be able to talk about just now, but in the future we'll do a part 2 as well. But he's fucking crushing it just now. You're pretty much selling out every drop. You've got this drop just now that it's getting pretty close to selling out, to be fair. Yep. But yeah, you're fucking cooking at the moment, bro. But Reject Weakness as a whole, mate, how did it start? Like, talk to us about it.
So what I'm sort of proud of with starting this brand, there's a decent story behind it.
Yep.
And I mean, you'll know most of it. I left school at 16. I get straight into electrical engineering. Went into being a sparky. I could tell, see, a couple of years into it, mate, I didn't like it, man. Getting up at the crack of dawn, freezing cold, in somebody's fucking house, mate, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was alright, mate, making decent money, and I knew for a fact I didn't like it, so I tried to venture into something else, but still sort of stay into electrical engineering. I went from engineering into trying to become just a sparky. So I get fucking, there was a really, really bad workspace I was in. Treated like shit, mate, obviously.
Yeah.
Didn't like it. So tried to move into another company, and within 6 months, man, made redundant. Which was about in the balls, because I get promised everything for this guy. Unlimited overtime, job safe, job's a good one. A lot of shit, mate. I think it was 5 or 6 months I get made redundant. And I was unemployed for 3 months. So obviously very upset, feeling very sorry for myself, lying in bed, greeting, you know what I mean, why did this happen to me? Scooshed all my savings to survive for another 3 months, which didn't help as well. I had my fucking wedding coming up in 6 months. So obviously I was freaking out, wasn't in a good place mentally. Obviously I was counting on my wife, or my fiance at the time, counting on my mum. They sort of saved us. And I was just, one day I was sort of feeling sorry for myself, upset, all that shit. And I thought, I don't want to feel like this again, because I know I had the job lined up, but I know if I go back into like an employment, this can happen to me at any time, and I don't really want to feel like that. I wasn't going to mention them. Just, you'll understand why I wasn't going to mention them. But lying in bed feeling really bad, it took one Andrew Tate video to fucking totally change my outlook and my perspective on things. So that's where the sort of name came from, was Reject Weakness and Embrace Strength. I was sick of lying in bed feeling sorry for myself. I wanted to get up and fucking do something about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
That lying in bed, I mean, it's all right to fall, you know what I mean? But it's not all right to stay down. That was the sort of mindset I get into, and what I really wanted to do. I don't want to feel like this again. I don't ever want to go through this again. So with the mindset that I had there, I wanted to sort of push into the gym environment. I mean, I'm in the gym every day. I have been for 6-7 years. That's where I am, do you know what I mean? So I wanted that mindset I sort of took on. I wanted to push that onto other people. And I could really only think any way to do that would be in the gym. There was one Andrew Tate video pretty much calling me a fucking pussy. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that are worse off. Do you know what I mean? I'm in my own house. I've got my fiance beside me. I've got my mum to count on, stuff like that. I mean, there's stuff going on in other countries. There's boys getting their legs blown off, mate, and I'm upset and greeting about having to wait a couple of months to get a job. Do you know what I mean? Because one was lined up, it was fine. So I just sort of sick of feeling fucking sorry for myself, mate, upset. I thought, you know what, stop being a fucking pussy. Get up and do something about it. And that's where I got up, whipped the laptop out, wrote the business plan, came up with a few designs, the name of the company, stuff like that, and here we are, mate. Reject Weakness, Embrace Strength.
That's fucking class, bro. That's fucking class. And it's one of those things, mate, when you unravel that early doors, because it's something that, like, majority of people start clothing brands just for the sake of starting a clothing brand. Whereas for yourself, there's a proper strong message behind it. And I think that's why it's had such an important impact. I think as alongside that as well, mate, you're an incredibly likeable guy. I've said that to you before. You can build really good relationships with people. And I think the kind of like selling out of drops and, you know, having this kind of incremental growth over the last like year or so, or maybe a bit longer than that, you know, it's got you indoors with people that believe in you and believe in what you're doing. And I think it's something that, like, even when you messaged me initially, like, I couldn't help but want to help you. You have this such a just like you're just a proper nice guy, mate. You're genuine, and I think when you stack up like a brand that has a proper meaning, a genuine guy behind it, someone that can build relationships, you're it's basically a trifecta of ways to start knocking down doors and start creating opportunities, which is what you've done, mate. Because clothing brand, like you said before, mate, clothing is itself is not a luxury, but the brand that you wear and the types of clothing are definitely a luxury.
The emotion that comes with it is.
Yeah,
yep,
100%. So, like, how when you thought about the kind of like business plan, infiltrating the space, what was the kind of like thought process behind like going about things? Like,
So,
how did you actually go about it?
Obviously, being an apprentice electrician for 4 years, 5 years, or whatever, I've got absolutely zero background in marketing, fucking networking. I'll say networking, I'm pretty good at talking shit, do you know what I mean? But I've got absolutely zero background in any of that. But I knew and I believed in myself that I can create something here. This has got a strong message behind it. So I wrote, I say business plan. I didn't get there yet. The 3 months that I was unemployed, I just knew that I was going to start something. I came up with a name. I came up how I was sort of going to go about it, who I was going to message, can you wear this? Do you know what I mean? Can you get the name out a little bit? How I was sort of going to take over sort of gyms with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all it really was a bit of believing in myself, mate. And I think thereafter, I sort of slept on it a bit. I got a bit too comfortable in my job and I put that to the side. Yeah. Everything I wrote down for it. I got a bit too comfortable and left it. And I mean, my wife was raging at this. So a year into my new job, we get a bonus. I think I get like £1,000. And I promised my wife, I says, look, I'm going to use this to take us away on holiday. Like, obviously that isn't going to pay everything, but I'll put that'll a good chunk of it. Do you know what I mean? So she was buzzing, going out and buying stuff for a holiday and stuff. And sort of last minute, I says to her, do you know what? I'm not fucking doing this. I'm going to put this towards starting a brand. I reckon I was looking into a few things with suppliers, and I says, for £1,000, I can start something here and see how it goes. Because we can either go on a fucking £2,000 holiday to Turkey just now, or we could be doing that every so often in the future if this goes right. So I used that £1,000, started a business, got some stock in and stuff, and I fair to say she wasn't happy. Mate. That was the holiday fund was away and the business get started.
How did you navigate that as a whole with that little bit of turmoil?
With my wife?
Yeah.
Again, as I says, I'm good at talking shite, mate. So I just spoke shite, mate, and says, look, I'll buy you a Range Rover in 2 years if you let me do this, know what I mean? But, again, I know for a fact I'm good at talking shite, mate. I just navigated my way around it and got out, you know what I mean?
What's the was it always going to be clothing, or did you have other ideas of what you wanted to do with it?
I've tried to dabble before into sort of personal training, but I've always been too busy in my apprenticeship with studying and stuff. I couldn't actually ever fully follow it up to go in and get qualifications and that. But I've always sort of looked into the sort of gym environment, so I knew when I wanted to push this mindset and push this symbol, the only way I could really do it was through clothing. Yeah, and I mean, I like clothes, so I just took a little bit of research and I thought it's definitely going to make some clothing. I don't really think I could push it anywhere else. Yeah.
And what was the actual steps to actually getting started, finding suppliers and stuff like that? What did you go through?
Finding a supplier and, mate, YouTube, fucking TikTok, do you know what I mean? Google. Yeah. There's so many people, like, even with stuff like the gym, with coaching, sometimes all you need to do is Google it. Fucking, do you know what I mean? Chat GPT, mate. So, really, but just a few YouTube videos, mate. How to start a clothing brand, where can I find suppliers, tips and tricks, stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It was literally just research off my own back, mate. There's a boy I know, or kind of know, that owns a clothing brand. He's fucking absolute killing it. I won't name them obviously, but asked him a couple of things and he kind of told me, do you know what I mean? Asked yourself and you put me onto some other people and just sort of networked my way around to finally being able to start it, mate. Yeah,
which is fucking class. One of the things that we touched on, or you touched on earlier on, was like something that doesn't get spoken about enough, which is like risk of employment versus risk of business. Because everyone says that business is risky. I mean, fuck me, trying to get the A35, try to get my own place when you're a business owner, it's fucking like you have to jump through hoops. I remember when I was actually going through the process of getting an A35, no matter how many connections I had, and the woman I was dealing with was fucking incredible through Lawrence, who I've had in the podcast. And this woman, incredible, got me an amazing fucking deal and was going through the underwriters to get approved. And this guy phones me from Mercedes and he's like, mate, for the first time ever, the underwriter wants to speak to you directly. Here's his number, like, give him my phone. And I phoned them and it was like some guy was in a fucking fish tank, mate. It was like, I could barely even fucking hear him, man. And he was like, so John, I've got some questions to run through with you just to ensure that you are who you say you are and to make sure that you can actually afford this. And it was like questions about like, you've got 3 credit cards. And I was like, no, I don't, I've got 1. He was like, incorrect answer, you've got 3. And I was like, okay, this guy knows more about fucking me than what I do. I was like, cool. I was like, and he was like, you've got a card for a store. And I was like, oh, my Argos card. And he was like, aye, what's the credit limit on that? And he was just asking me my questions.
I've heard of him being counted as well and being like,
yeah.
I think someone that I know get knocked back for a car as well for having, I think it was like £15 on a Next card.
Aye.
Come on,
It's
to fuck,
fucking-
man. Do you know what I mean?
It's mental, bro. But the hoops that you have to jump through when you're, it's funny because when you're in any sort of business, the hoops you have to jump through are crazy. To get a mortgage, you're needing like 2 to 3 years of accounts. Like all sorts of different stuff. Whereas employment, like I literally know of a lad that while running a business went and got a job that was like 45 grand a month because he was crushing it in business. He had this crazy resume, went and got a job. Off the back of getting a job, then went and got a mortgage and got some crazy fucking gaff and then just left the job. And he literally jumped through those hoops just to make sure that he could get it. And it's the interesting thing on that, mate, is like risk of business is one of it all so much, but what I took from what you said was like you didn't want to go through the risk of employment anymore and like just having things taken away from you.
I'm fully employed just now.
Yep.
I mean, I've not took a pound for reject weakness, and I won't until I know it's definitely self-sustaining and I can afford it. But there's a total difference between risk of a business and risk of employment. I'm guaranteed just now 40, 50 bags a year.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, fair enough, there will be people out there that are really happy with that, and I know it's a decent wage, you know what I mean? But I don't want that in fucking 10, 15 years. You know what I mean? If you do and you're happy with it, fair enough. But, mate, I walked into work one day, happy, tunes on, blah, blah, blah. Got to work and I get told, mate, I need to speak to you, I need to make you redundant. You've got a 1 week notice. I've got my mortgage to pay, my wife to keep happy, car to pay, a fucking wedding to pay off, a honeymoon to pay off. Mate, it honestly felt like someone fucking tombstoned me, man. Do you know what I mean? That's, again, I said it earlier, I don't ever want to feel like that again, but the risk is fucking tenfold between business and being employed, mate. You know what I mean? Unless you've got like a fucking, is what you were saying with Lawrence here, like a crazy job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
What's the, it wasn't Lawrence that done that, by the way, it was somebody else to be fair.
Sorry, Lawrence.
Yeah.
Whoever it was.
Yeah. It's, what I'm curious about, mate, is like, see, you get told that news, like driving home, like what's running through your mind? What's the general
mate,
thoughts?
all over the place.
Yeah.
Crying, phoning my mum, being fucking told to be made redundant. Do you know what I mean? I've got all this shit. Just pure panic. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, my mum's my fucking saviour, man. Just talked us down. Be all right. Do you know what I mean? I'll be able to help you. But, I mean, you should, at that past fucking 16, you should never want to fucking rely on your mum, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should start giving them a bit back. But it was fucked, mate. Honestly, my mind was totally gone. Total cloudy vision, panicking, crying. Do you know what I mean? And I don't mind saying on here,
Oh, for sure.
crying and shit. Do you know what I mean? But as soon as I get told that, mate, it just, everything in my head exploded as to, I've got all of this to pay off and I've got no income.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's, again, with the risky business and risky employment, I'm relying on someone here to pay my wage. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So, I mean, the boy says he ran out of work and stuff, fair enough, but mate, fuck that. I don't ever want to feel like that again. That was genuinely horrible.
It's aspects of control for sure, mate. Like in terms of you're wanting to take control of arguably the most important thing in the world, which is the cash flow, the income, the cash that's coming out of your pocket. And when I think back as well, like it's probably, now that you're saying that, it's triggering some thoughts in my head. Like it was 18, I think I was 18 at the time, came home from college and like my mum was just crying at the kitchen table and I was like, what's going on? And she was like, don't know how to say this to you, but I've been made redundant. I've got 30 days.
Horrible, mate.
And she was like, my mum, similar, like 45k plus a year. Like it literally brought up me and my little sister, roof over her head, and she'd worked there for 10 plus years, and all they gave her was, I think it was an 18k redundancy pay for like 10 plus years of work. She was due much more. She then wanted to take them to the court, started taking them to the court. They drew out the process a year plus so that she had all these legal fees to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up just pulling the plug on it because she couldn't afford it. And then she started her own business, which then, since then, for the last 7 years, she's literally ran her own business. But doing that and building that while being a single parent, roof over her head, having to make cash all the time, like to look after kids, etc. It's something that, like, when I think back to like my why of going into business, that probably played a part subconsciously. Seeing my mum get something taken away from her.
100%.
which is fucking insane. It doesn't get spoken about anywhere near enough, mate, and that's why I love doing shit like this podcast, because it unravels people's origin story from how they actually started business. And for you, it was like the control of, I guess, cash just getting taken away from you. You feeling like your fucking whole world's been swept underneath you. You've been tombstoned, like you said.
Mate, honestly, I thought I was going to lose everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm getting married to my best friend in 6 months and I've got no cash income. How the fuck does that work? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was horrible, mate, and I can imagine for your mum as well, when you seen it firsthand, it definitely would have had an impact, mate, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that you did touch on, which I want to kind of like segue into, is like you said about you knew nothing about marketing, networking, didn't know where to start.
Nothing, mate.
Where did you actually start then, if you knew nothing?
Mate, do you know what? I don't even know. I knew to begin with. Sorted the supplier, got a few samples in. I was like, right, okay, this looks good. And I've got a few friends that have got a bit about them, a decent bit of following and stuff. I just messaged them pretty much. All it is, everything is networking. Do you know what I mean? Everything, and that's something you need to learn right off the bat with business straight away. So just messaged a few people and says, look, mate, can you wear this and put a story up on Instagram? Do you know what I mean? That was how my networking and marketing started, was Instagram stories. Do you know what I mean?
100%, mate. And what was in terms of first drop, like what was it like having it, feeling it, touching it? And like,
so quite funny actually. The first samples I got, I made the designs on Word, right? And it took me ages. I was fucking cropping shit, cutting it. It was all squint, nothing was straight. I screenshotted it on my laptop, with like a transparent background, sent it to supplier. I spent a fortune. And that's £1,000 bonus I got. Spent a fortune of that on getting samples over. It was like 2 hoodies or whatever. And it was fucking horrible. Like so bad, mate. I'll send you pictures. So bad. Because it was just a screenshot off a Word. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't the correct fucking... It was horrible. And it sort of set me back a little bit. And I thought, can I actually do this? And it started putting doubts into my mind. And again, it's just... When I'm looking at it, it's still got my logo on it. And I can see the meaning of it. I said, no, fucking stop being a pussy, just fucking do it. Try again. Do you know what I mean? You've been knocked down, just get fucking back up and try it again. So I reached out to a graphic designer pretty close to home. She sorted us out, done everything correctly, helped me out, sent it back to supplier, and they came back shit hot, mate.
Yeah.
I'd like fucking, all I had to hand was 2 hoodies and a t-shirt. Took loads of pictures with them, made an Instagram page, put that up. Once I seen a little bit of traction and people were starting to fuck with it, I got a big fucking stock order and just started dishing it out, mate. 50% of it I gave away.
Yeah.
Another 50 did sell, but that was 50 sold and it only made back what I spent.
Yeah.
The other 50 was just given away to people, mate, just to try and get a bit of...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What was the type of, when you say started to gain traction, what was what started to happen? Just people buying it or people talking about it? Like,
no, because I didn't have stock yet. So it was literally, as I say, I only had 2 hoodies and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Went down to Limitless Fitness Cumbernauld. Put them on a fucking squat rack, took some pictures. And once I seen, like, sort of, obviously I shared it on my own page, I got a few of my pals to share it. Once I seen a lot of followers coming in, people were messaging the page saying, like, when will these be available? Pages with the posts were getting a lot of likes. That's when I thought, right, still a risk here because there's no guarantee, but I think this is going to work. And that's when I bought the big stock order in.
And in terms of the first drop, what was walk us through what actually happened on the first drop in terms of getting the stock in? How much stock did you get?
So I think I got, altogether, it must have been around 50 or 60 garments altogether. And that was 2 different coloured hoodies and 1 oversized t-shirt.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably 50 or 60 garments, and it was a good feeling, do you know what I mean? Getting the fucking big boxes, that size of clothes. I thought, this is actually starting to feel a bit real now. Just whipped them open, mate. It was absolutely buzzing, over the moon, do you know what I mean? I was talking to my wife saying, this is going to fucking work, I'm not going to be a fucking millionaire and that shit, do you know what I mean? They all came, mate. It was good. Went back down to the gym, got a few people wearing it, took some pictures. Boosted, I mean, you'll be boosting posts and stuff on YNL, obviously. I was putting like £15 into a boosted post over like a week, mate. Do you know what I mean? I just started with that, mate. Got the stock, buzzing. Went down to the gym, dished a few out. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't worried about making any money. This was just getting the name out there and getting the brand seen. I just gave it out to a lot of people. One of my good pals, Dale, he had 200,000 followers. He says, I need to give you this, mate, and can you please put up a story? You know what I mean? I wasn't really worried about selling them. It was, to begin with, it was all about just getting it seen and getting it out there.
Yeah. Where did you get that mindset from?
I don't know. I think if you go into a business just with, it might depend what business, but if I went into this with just a mindset of making money, people can see that and it won't do anything. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to grow if you say to someone, I'll give you this, but you need to buy it and please promote it for free. They're not going to do it. You know what I mean? So I just felt I'm not fucked about it. I've got a job here and I'm making a good wage. If I can just get this brand seen, push it out as much as possible to a point where I don't need to be working here, that's enough. I'm not worried about any dough at the moment. This is all just getting it seen.
For sure, mate. It makes sense. And in terms of those 50 to 60 garments, did you sell out of that first drop?
Yeah, so I think I gave away like 15, 20 maybe. Maybe not even 20, I think maybe 15. The rest fucking flew out, mate, definitely.
Nice.
And
how
so
that
that obviously gave me a lot of confidence, you know what I mean? That sort of took the stress off me, and at this point I thought, it's only a risk if it's kind of maybe going to work, but at this point it was working, so it's not a risk anymore. Then kind of went a bit balls to the wall and I was getting 100 garments and 120, but I was still selling out, do you know what I mean? On drop day I was doing like 80 items were flying out the door. Why?
That's fucking class, mate. And in terms of like as your skills, I'm curious, like what skills have you started to, I guess, develop? Because if you look back at probably when you started, like you said, you knew nothing. So what
nothing, man. I would say, and I don't know if I'll be able to sort of elaborate on it, but definitely networking. As I said before, I'm good at talking. And I say talking shite, I don't mean lying. Do you know what I mean? I'm just good at talking shite, mate, and I'm good at talking to people. For example, I think like, most of it's confidence as well. For example, I walked into Limitless Cumbernauld and Tom Stokeman was standing over there. And I thought, right, this is a huge opportunity here. I can hopefully ask him for a picture. He might tell me to fuck off and pick me up and fling me away. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, just grow a set of balls. Fuck it, man. Bit of confidence. Go up and talk a bit of shit. Have a wee kind of joke with him and that, and hopefully get a picture. And I did. You know what I mean? And that done wonders for the page. 3 times World's Strongest Man in my clothing. Obviously, all that took was a little bit of courage and confidence to go up and ask someone. But in terms of what I've learned from it, I would say definitely networking skills. And I don't know if I'd be able to elaborate on exactly what, but I sort of know now how to speak to people and how to sort of ask for things. If you get me, I might be talking absolute shit here.
No, 100%, bro. Because I think it's something like if we were break networking down, most of it's just an exchange of value. Like I give something, you give something, and like with the right people, you'll meet individuals that will just want to give, especially in the early stages, like without anything expected in return. So like I never forget. I mean, there's plenty of people I've had in this podcast that at the time were doing, even still now, doing crazy fucking 20 to 30x whatever I'm making, mental dough that I'll have on the podcast, and just through an hour of us conversating, we'll go for dinner afterwards, and they'll give me 3-4 hours at a time, and they'll help me with YNL and they'll help me with different things. And I remember, I think it was Gary Wilson asked when he was on, I was like, how does someone go about finding a mentor or finding someone that can help? And he's like, majority of mentors will find you because they'll see themselves in you. And I think that's a huge component of like just networking in terms of its basic sense to me is just like an exchange of value, but you'll then start to meet people that are further ahead than you that will just give, and they won't expect anything in return, and and those are genuine people that just don't give a fuck in terms of like they don't give a fuck what you do for them. They just want to see other people like them succeed in terms of the way
I have met people like that quite a few times in my journey with this, and one of them was James, owner of Limitless. He's helped me fucking with loads of stuff and not asked for anything back, not one thing back. Helped me with giveaways, promoting the brand with the gym page, collabing stuff, giving me tips and stuff about business. And that was, I've only known him for about 8-9 months, and he was giving me all sorts of information and just doing what he can to help promote my brand for nothing back. You know, I didn't even ask for a t-shirt, mate. You know what I mean?
That's class, man. And then you have people as well that you went to school with that wouldn't have even promoted or even followed the brand.
Oh, mate.
That's a mad thing.
As well in business, I mean, I'm not going to come on here and say, like, you've had fucking people on here doing 30 mil a year and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I am totally new to the business world. One of the first things, you might be the same, one of the first things you'll learn is, mate, you've got fucking no pals. Honestly, you think, I've got 2-3, like when you're 18 and stuff, you're going to the pub and that all the time, I've got 200-300 pals and all that. Do you fuck? See, when you need a little bit of help, a little bit of promotion, fucking buy a 20 quid tap. No chance, mate. Disappear, man. Do you know what I mean? And that might just be a personal thing for me, but I kind of soon realised who like true friends were. Do you know what I mean? And that's not just I need this person to buy a t-shirt and all that. It's like, fucking share it your story, mate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some people can't even be asked to do that. So, aye.
How was that for you in terms of like, did you have friends that you thought were genuine boys that just disintegrated?
Pretty much, mate, aye.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. Just totally fucking, nope. I mean, you've got a supposed good friend, right? And you're telling them you're going to start a business, you're going to start a clothing brand.
Yeah.
And they laugh at you, mate. You know what I mean? Like, how just, I would never do that and I don't understand it. So, just total fucking negativity. And if right now, the headspace I've been in since starting this, if anyone gives me some sort of cloud of negativity or it's even coming towards me, I just fuck off.
Yeah.
Cannot be asked with me. Get it. Any sense of negativity and anything like that, just, I don't even want to look at you, mate. Do you know what I mean?
100%, mate. I think as well, like when you would know this like firsthand with Reject Weakness, like when you work in a job as well, you've got so much shit to do all the time. So
I'm mobbed, mate.
It's like you genuinely don't have the time for the negative shit. It's just negative conversations.
That's it. No get any time for it. I don't want to come on and say, oh, fucking no pals and shit like that. What I'm trying to say is, like, I've just not got time for that negative stuff. And you will soon, if anyone watching this that's going to start a business, you will definitely soon realise who's actually rooting for you.
Yeah.
Because there'll be people fucking wanting you to do shit just to be a cunt, mate. That's just negativity, do you know what I mean? But again, it's just no time for it. I've got a full-time job. It's like 12-hour shifts just now. Try to keep my wife happy. That's a fucking job in itself, mate. Try to build a business. I've just not got any time for that, mate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure. I mean, even like, fun enough, I don't know, so I was trying to think back to like school and stuff like that. Like, did you care what people thought during school?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie and say no, mate. Yeah. Definitely. Anything I done was what was trending.
Yeah.
And I was the class clown, fuck, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you'll know that. It was always trying to impress people and following what's trending. And it's a fucking shit way to live, mate. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, as soon as I left school, I sort of grew out of that. And a lot of people would have done that through school, but I'm not going to lie and say I didn't, mate. Definitely.
How did you like grow out of it / change? Because I think some people are still stuck in that now, even as they get older.
Fucking definitely, mate. I mean, what, 24 now. I'm 25 in a couple of months. There's friends obviously the same age. They're still like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I left school at 16, and it was into college for like 6 months, and it was on site. Do you know what I mean? So you're around people that just don't have fucking time for that and just don't give a fuck about stuff like that. So I think it was just my environment that sort of took me out of that, mate.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think like, because for me it was a couple of different components. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. That was a book that I read that was like, I feel like I needed it because I definitely was someone that conformed at school. I kind of blended in. That was the way that I seen it. I kind of blended in. I wore what other people wore, bought similar shoes, bought the trend and shit.
Yep.
I remember like, even when I used to think back to like even in primary, mate, when my fucking dad used to take me out to buy me clobber and he'd take me like trespass, I'm like, Dad, I'm fucking wearing
no
that.
chance, you know what I mean?
No wearing that, I'll get my fucking cunt ripped out of me. Like, that's the first thought. Whereas, like, as you grow older, mate, I mean, fucking, you start to realise, like, all that shit doesn't matter. It's pretty trivial. And also, I think the first initial hurdle is just starting. Once you start, all those thoughts, you don't even have enough time for those thoughts, mate. No, so they just fucking disappear anyways.
Yep. I think it was my environment that sort of took me out of that, but that will sort of resonate with or align with when I was starting a brand, mate. See the amount of people that were laughing about it. You know what I mean? Like laughing about it, saying fucking starting a clothing brand and all what you're talking about and stuff, mate. Yep. Do you know what I mean? There was loads of people that took the piss out of it. You cannot go into a gym now in Glasgow. There's not one person wearing my tee. At least one person's wearing it, mate. Yep. All over Glasgow, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and if you see that to me last year when I was starting and people were saying all of this, like I would have told you to fuck off. Do you know what I mean? I was semi-confident in it, but you just, all that negativity and stuff, get that to fuck, man, no chance.
It was funny because I was, also we booked in this pod like a week or two ago and I don't know where I was. I think I was going to get my hair cut with Callum actually, and I was literally walking through the town centre and two boys walked towards me, both of them had hoodies on. I'd never seen them before at a gym or anything like that. It was just like two boys with Jet Weakness hoodies on. I was like, that's like such a mad and also like class feeling to just like see that on behalf of yourself. But then also I was curious, like, where's the maddest place you've seen someone wearing your clobber apart from the gym? Have you seen people when you're out and stuff like that wearing it?
I get sent a picture of someone wearing it in Wonder Bar, which is fucking weird, mate. I would always, and I think it's just people that fuck with the motto, so like the meaning behind the brand so much that they're not afraid to sort of wear it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's oversized gear, like, obviously it looks good, do you know what I mean? But the maddest place that I've seen They're probably in town, mate. I've been out for a pint or whatever, and I've seen someone wearing it. I've been like, fuck, that's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Fucking the other side of Glasgow and stuff. But I mean, I've had orders for Indiana, Texas, all over down south, everywhere in Scotland, Amsterdam. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I honestly, you had one for like Norway or something like that as well.
Norway and Amsterdam, yep. All down that end, fucking America, mate. There's boys in Indiana and Texas now wearing my stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's wild.
What was the UFC boy that was wearing your stuff as well?
Chris Duncan.
Yeah.
The Problem.
Yeah.
I shout out him, man. That was another boy I came by, sorry. And I just messaged him out of the blue and he says, hello, mate. Like, big fan and stuff. Like, I love UFC, do you know what I mean? And obviously he's from Stirling, I think he fights out of. Just a message on Instagram, how you doing, mate? Would love to, I'm a young man from Glasgow, I'd love to send you out some clothes, man. Like, see what you think. Didn't want any money, nothing, no promotion on his side. He just says, it's cool, send them out, mate. And he was just wearing them all the time, stories, fucking, and videos, stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? He wore it to American Top Team in America, like the biggest UFC gym in the world. I didn't ask him to do that. Do you know what I mean? That's just that's just a good cunt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I remember you mentioned me when it was at the collaboration post, they posted it on his own like actual Instagram feed, which was fucking mad.
Aye, that was wild. He tagged me and he tagged American Top Team. And one of the likes that came through was like Dylan Dennis. Stuff like that. Like crazy UFC fighters were liking this post and I'm like, fucking, do you know what I mean? Crazy, man. And he didn't want anything for that, mate. He didn't ask for a penny. Yeah. That was just off his own back, just being a good cunt, mate. Yeah.
It's fucking class, mate. What I'm curious about, because you kind of touched on it already, is like wins and lessons. Like you spoke about a good couple of lessons. Is there things that spring front of mind when you think about key lessons that you maybe wish you knew when you started? I know I'm putting you in a spot.
Aye.
I could
to be fair.
Do you want me to touch on a couple first?
Aye, definitely aye.
Yeah, so I mean, lessons on my end, man, when it comes to like starting YNL is like probably like what you first start will change as and evolve as time goes on. Like for me, I started as a networking group, a community, that then evolved into like from networking events into this little like idea that I had from the gaming world where people would get together and they'd talk ideas about business, talk problems together, help each other solve them, and we'd spend like 3-4 hours on calls just helping each other move their businesses forward. Which literally came from like the gaming days when I used to hop on and basically we'd all these COD players would all sit and we'd review each other's gameplays and we'd give each other feedback and we'd make changes. Yep. And I went from hosting networking events to going, you know what, I've got this wee fucking idea. Let me just try it. Tried it. They loved it. Started selling higher memberships at it. And then got to a stage now, like 2 years later, where I was just like, I want to take it to the next level. The next level is coaching. Who can I bring in? And every stage I have probably been shitting myself about making the change and actually making the commitment. But every single time it's paid off fucking tenfold. It's meant that I've grew. And I think sometimes we can often be scared about the business changing as time goes on. But I mean, my fucking first ever networking event is literally live on YouTube. I've never taken it down. Of like the first ever one I hosted. With my wee fucking square fucking, I was going to say goggles, but like glasses that look like two huge frames. And I would literally, I remember I stood up from my chair and I had a full imprint of my body on my leather seat, mate, from sweating my cunt in, bro. Hitting an absolute badging. So yeah, probably one of the key lessons is just like your business will evolve and change and don't let the evolution happen as opposed to like fucking...
I don't know, on my part would probably, what I wish I knew at the start would, you just need to be confident. You need to go, in my opinion, I think you just need to go into it two-footed, man. You need to go for it. Yep. Obviously there's stuff happened to the business. I've took risks with the business and put money into certain influencers that are fucking really expensive, do you know what I mean? And it's not worked. I think it's just, you still just need to go for it. It's, as I said earlier, it's all right to fall, but it's not okay to stay down. So there's stuff that's happened to the business that's sort of made me take a little step back. Yeah. Now, at that point, I should have just kept going. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I wish I just sort of knew. I just don't fucking stop. Just keep going. Do you know what I mean? Stuff's going to happen. Shit's going to happen. I've texted you about it a few times. Says, John, I need help here. Yeah. But what do I do? And you've had to pretty much tell me like it's going to fucking happen, mate. Yeah. It's not all sunshines and rainbows. Like shit's going to happen. Yeah. But pretty much just a confidence thing, mate, and don't be a shite bag, really.
Because I was voice noting you earlier on, because earlier on in the week when you thought you were going to sell more on the initial drop.
Yep.
And it didn't sell as high as what you thought it was.
Yep.
And you felt a little bit disheartened by it. And it's like, the mad thing is, mate, probably how much you sold on that drop on Friday was probably more than
what I done to begin with.
Aye.
Yeah, so that's a good example. You've saved me there. So the surge drop that I done, that went fucking crazy, like really, really well. I done over, I think I sold over 150 garments over like a week.
Yeah,
which is fucking unreal. Like there'll be people doing that a day, right? But for where I am, that's obviously very good. So every drop now, I'm going to compare to that. You know what I mean? I'm going to try and expect to do that, and it's not that. It's never going to be the case. It'd be so difficult to keep the numbers up at the start anyway. So I just, when I dropped there, a little bit slow, but it was a mid-month just after Christmas and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So just instead of feeling disheartened about it and sort of staying down and think, oh, look, what the fuck's going on? Like, get up instead, figure out what's wrong and fucking hit it. Do you know what I mean? Do 100%. Something about it.
Defos, bro. Because I think it's something that, like, I think what I said to you in the voice note was that, like, you can't have a good month without a low month. You can't have a low month without a high month. Like, it's the same, this constant up and down. And also, like, it's funny because if I reflect probably towards the end of last year, November, we done like a 30 grand plus month, and I remember thinking, holy fucking shit, this is crazy. I was like, text Jack, text the boys. I was like, bonus hitting in December, use our fucking cake for Christmas, all this shit. I was so fucking gassed. And like, I was running the numbers for this month, off the back of like some changes that have happened at the start of this year, which will be announced by the time this comes out? Probably not. Probably get announced literally next week. Some of the kind of big changes to YNL, but we've naturally had to take the foot off the gas to navigate some changes. You know, we're getting close to hitting those types of months again, and it doesn't feel anywhere near the same. Like, it doesn't even feel like, thinking back to like end of last year, fucking gassed, to like, that's cool because we've hit that already. So we're just getting back to where we previously were. And then also you start to have a lower month, like, say you have a 30 grand month and you have like a 20 grand month. You know, there would have been a time a couple of years ago where you would have begged for a 20 grand month.
Definitely, mate. I think that's, I can't thank you enough for when I says to you, this has been a bit slow. Do you know, I'm feeling a bit fucking disheartened and stuff. And you've says that to me, like, mate, 6 months ago, that would have been unbelievable for you. Do you know what I mean? I would have killed for that, mate. Do you know what I mean? So it's just taking the good or the bad in it. Yeah. It's always going to happen. It's never, if you're selling out same day, every single drop, you know what I mean? It would be crazy. You're never going to be able to hold that up. Yeah.
And on the topic of drops as well, how do you come up with new drops and stuff like that, different ideas?
So to begin with, my first design, the Ferocious one, I just made that on my laptop, mate. I just came up with an idea. I already had the name Reject Weakness, and I came up with how I wanted to style it in the back of the t-shirt. So already it looked quite grimy, quite fucking badass and stuff. So I needed something under it that sort of aligned with it. I don't know, it just came to my head, mate. I drew it down on a wee notepad. I tried to put it onto Word, but I don't do that anymore. Whenever I come up with a design, I'll either draw it on my phone, draw it on a notepad, and I'll send it to my graphic designer and they'll fucking do the magic, mate.
Who's your designer?
Charlie Redmond. Went to school with her as well. A graphic designer and a videographer as well.
That's class.
She's done wonders for me, mate.
That's
really,
amazing.
Really
that's class. Because I was curious, because I knew, I thought that you maybe done work, because I'd seen some of Charlie's stuff before. Like anyone that's like from our school that started a business, I've been like, you kind of internally root for them a little bit, because you're just like when I started, mate, nobody at our school had done anything yet business wise. I don't think. I mean, even now, like, I can't really think of anyone bar yourself.
Very few, mate.
Aye, and Charlie obviously, but
very few.
Aye,
I can't think of any. I'm just saying very few in case there is. Do you know what I mean?
I know, because I think
Graham does. He started. He's doing quite well with his as well. But apart from that, mate, fucking, I don't know.
I know, it's fucking it's mental, mate. So yeah, the process of the drops, you literally just draw shit up, fire over a designer.
Draw shit up, mate. Send it to Charlie. She does an amazing job turning that, bringing that to life. She'll email that to me. I'll punt it to a supplier, and then I'll get the teas at my house, mate.
And how long does it take usually for the supplier to get the samples and stuff to you?
2-3 weeks.
Nice.
Depending on how big it is. Done an order before, it was like 140 hoodies, t-shirts, joggers and stuff like that, and I had about 3 weeks, man. So it's actually not bad, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to touch on as well, because we're always joking about it, I always see you crack back the whole like, what the fuck, man? I always hear you say that phrase whenever we speak about other people doing crazy numbers. Aye. And I know that's something that it started to shift your own belief system in regards to like seeing other people like you met Harry McDonough, who for example was crushing it. Obviously,
big shout out to him as well. He helped me with loads with sort of analysing ads and targeting them.
Yeah.
So just a quick mention for Harry, definitely.
And anyone who doesn't know Harry, by the way, I've been trying to fucking hopefully watch this podcast. I've been trying to get him on this pod for fucking ages, and he keeps delaying it because he wants the title to be crazier and crazier. But every cunt fucking message him and tell him we'll do a part 1 and we'll do a part 2. Wait, part 1 right now, part 2 when he's done his fucking £100 million exit. The absolute madman. Some boy, man. Fucking love Harry to bits. But yeah, so like seeing other people doing crazy numbers on it starts to shift your beliefs as well. We were even speaking about cars before we came in here, and it's like you start to realise that things that you thought were very far away really aren't that fucking far away.
No, they're not. It's, I mean, I was only, it was a couple of years ago I got made redundant. Then I was in my job for a year, got a bonus, and then I started this. So that was the sort of time frame. But see, when I was made redundant and I had like £200 left and I still had to wait a month to get employed again. And then I'm speaking to people, like speaking to you, and you're telling me people are doing like £1 million a month. I think, like, what the fuck? I'm saying it again, do you know what I mean? You're thinking, how the fuck is that possible? But once you start, again, with a little bit of networking and talking to people, like, obviously I talk to you a lot, like, you realise that there's so many people out there that are doing that. It's because, like, being an employee, you're surrounded by employees. You know what I mean? It's, you don't really hear that. So that's, whenever you tell me shit like that, I'm like, fucking hell, man. You know what I mean?
It's fucking mental. I think even for me, like, when I first initially started, I think probably Lawrence was one of the first people that I met that was doing over 6 figures a month. And I remember going for dinner with them. And I remember I went home, I said to Bex, I was like, I literally, when I was like 18, 19, I would have like dreamed of the opportunity of like sitting down with somebody that was doing that type of numbers that I could ask questions, learn from. And my thing was, he was paying me as a client to be part of what I was doing. So I was like, my whole head was fucked with it. And I think now it's just the norm because you start to meet others, like even no matter, like there's some people that follow, drop me a message, clients of YNL, some people that are just doing crazy fucking numbers, mate. And it's like, it shifts your whole belief system.
Definitely, mate. I had no idea. I was an apprentice for 4 years. The first 2 years of that, I was on £700 a month. Mate, like I thought that was a decent bit. I get told, the gaffer phoned me up and says, I'll put you on this, mate, and I was fucking buzzing, do you know what I mean? Mate, that's what I knew, do you know what I mean? That's fuck all, man. A month, mate. And then you're telling me people are doing £1 million a month. You're thinking, fucking blows your mind, man.
So one of the things that we spoke about in the car as well was the £700 a month, which you've just touched on there. Like, do I give some more context in regards to what that actually was like for you during that time?
So, as I say, I waffled at the start, man. I was a bit nervous at the start of the podcast and sort of the whole fucking story, background of the brand went up there. But so I left school, went into college, doing electrical engineering, and I got an apprenticeship. I was lucky enough to get an apprenticeship, and I get told, I'm going to put you in £700 a month. That'll be your wage. And I was 18, 19, something like that. So I was fucking buzzing, man. Like, over the moon, that's fucking all sorts, £700 to play with and that. Obviously, soon realised it's fuck all. So after a year, I say, right, what's happening here? We're getting a wage rise. No, you still need to sort you about going into college and getting your apprenticeship and that. I'm like, mate, I thought this was an apprenticeship. So another year went by and it was the same, still in £700 a month, man. What the fuck is going on here? He says, right, fine, I'll fucking put you into college and that, but it stayed the same because it had to be minimum wage. So I put up with that for like another year and I says, fuck this, man. Like, it was a horrible work environment, as you can tell with the wages I was on, man. Horrible work environment. Hated it. I says, right, I'm going to come away from electrical engineering, upgrade my skill set and go into like more domestic stuff. And become an actual electrician so I can pass my trade tests and stuff like that. Joined a new company. Within 4 months, made redundant. You know what I mean? And then I was unemployed for 3 months. Had a job lined up, but I was still unemployed. All the savings were gone. And in that period of time, that's where I came up with a business plan and the idea of what I was going to do. And I did say that I sort of let it slide. Like I put it to the side a bit because I get comfortable in the job. Then again, I got that bonus and thought, fuck this, I'm going to start a business. But working under someone that's close to that, 'cause there's only like 2 or 3 of you, it's not for me, mate. It was fucking horrible.
What was the things that you hated most about it besides being paid fuck all?
Paid fuck all is obviously like the main factor, do you know what I mean? But it was just, you're just a number, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, I put my notice in and I don't even think he blinked. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It was cool.
Hmm.
And then when I joined the new company, walked into work one day, there's your redundancy, mate. You've got a week. That was it.
Aye.
So you're sort of felt, I don't want to say not wanted. I don't know how else to say that. You're fuck all really. You're just a number. Do you know what I mean? That's I don't like that. You want to feel like you're actually doing something.
Yeah. I mean, there's such a fucking huge. I mean, I speak about this all the time because I speak about Layla Hermosi's podcast. She does awesome stuff on leadership, building a team, and like so much of her stuff has just been around being a good fucking human, mate, and actually caring about the people that work for you the same way you'd care about a fucking friend.
None of that. There was none of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck all.
Because even for me, the only job I ever worked was I worked as a waiter in a restaurant in Princess Square, and it was the most like, you show up, you clock in, you clock out, you're a fucking zombie, and you're a ghost. I think that was the maddest thing for me doing it. You're a fucking ghost to pretty much 90% of the people that you serve. So when you're serving people as a waiter, they do not give a fuck about you. I remember showing up, there was one of the times a huge table, and I was very like, even though I'm naturally an introvert, I'd put on this big extrovert kind of like smile and spit, and I knew how to speak to people. So I went up to this table of like 6, and they were laughing and they were talking. I was like, "What's happening, guys? How he's doing? He's looking for." Whole table was silent. And they just looked at me like that, and I was like, "Oh, sorry guys, like, I didn't mean to interrupt. Just wanted to get some of your drinks orders. Come back later." And I was like, "You're literally speaking to me like I'm a piece of shit." Like, in my head, I'm like, because as well, I think when you're an employee, you have these rules that you have to live by that are unfair in terms of. When I say unfair, I mean like everything's like customer first, as an example. And it's like you're not allowed to speak your mind on shit. You're not allowed to have any sort of arguments with individuals.
Yep.
And I remember just walking away. I remember I spoke to Mom about it. I was like, do you know, think it's crazy that this is an actual standard? Like it's just expected. You're expected to just take shit.
Yep.
But like also there's other people that are willing to just give you shit because you're a waiter. Like that just makes, I just can't understand like that thought process. Because for me, I think a huge value that I recognised as I grew older was like fairness is a huge component. I think that to just speak to someone like a piece of shit because they're a waiter, for me, just fucking blew my mind. And I remember one of the first rules I made of like starting my business was that fairness was going to be at the forefront of everything I operated as. Unreasonable hospitality in terms of going above and beyond clients was going to be something I was always going to do. But I said to you earlier on, like I've got cunts that have messaged me once every 6 months to try and join mine now, and I tell them to fuck off every time because I don't want to work with them. I don't align with them as individuals. I can tell that we're not cut from the same cloth whatsoever. And it's one of those things that like, I know for a fact that they don't operate with the same type of fairness value as me, but I've got 70 plus clients that do, and I've got an amazing network of people that also operate with that same value as well. And I think that's the one thing as well. I think when you first start, you try to find those first few good people.
Yep.
And then as soon as you do, mate, your whole life changes. Because as soon as you have those good people in your corner, those good cunts that you could phone at 10 o'clock at night and be like, look, man, my head's fucking scrambled. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with this. And they pick up the phone and they'll sit and talk to you for an hour and a half.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
get
like,
a good team behind you, man. You'll do anything.
100%, mate. And I think that's something that just so madly overlooked. Because I remember there was one of the times, because I think Jack, like working in the council for 7+ years, he'd had the same shit drilled into him of like the customer being like always first, etc. Blah blah blah. And I remember there was one of the times he messaged me, he phoned me, and he was like, "Mate, just want to let you know, like, I've just had a guy, just say to me like, it was like something along the lines of like, why the fuck do you keep sending me questions for me to answer ahead of the call? Just turn up to the fucking call and do your job." That's what somebody said to him, and he was like, "What do I reply to this?" And I was like, "Tell me fuck off, mate." And he was like, "Nah, what, can I actually do that?" And I was like, "Mate, send the fucking number to me and I'll voice note on your behalf and I'll tell him to fuck off." Like that sort of shit, like speaking to you like you're a fucking piece of dirt on a shoe, that's not a client I would ever want to work with. No. And I think from that moment, Jack started to recognise like, you have a backbone in this shit. And if someone speaks to like a piece of shit, we're not fucking working with them anyways.
It's fucking dog eat dog, mate.
No.
To an extent.
Yep.
Fuck that.
Yep.
No chance.
Imagine
You can't let people speak to you like that. And obviously being an apprentice, I was spoke to like that all the time, mate.
Yeah.
Took everything in me not to turn around and just say, "Go and fuck off, mate."
Yeah.
If I say that, I'm sacked, mate. Do you know what I mean? But me not saying that is, but I wanted £700 a month, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's
horrible, mate.
That's what I was going to say. Is there not like you would have plenty of moments like that where you just wanted to just be like, you know what, just fuck off. Because I know in terms of that environment as well, there was a lad, I had him on the podcast, I think Blair spoke about it, where he done his first thing as like an apprenticeship as well when he was growing up. He's now a property investor now. Does amazing work with his dad, who's Alec. He's incredible as well. And Blair literally, I remember, I think it was something about like, he literally like went through 2 apprenticeships, and both of them, like one taking the piss every single day out of whatever he wore, whatever he'd done, however he said things. And then one of them, I remember him saying something like one of the guys was like fucking pretending to threaten him with like a nail gun and shit like that. And I'm like, mate, what type of fucking environment's that?
Similar stuff's happened to me, mate, and it is just, you feel stuck because you've got responsibilities and you can't leave him because this cunt pays your wages. Yeah. But he's also holding a fucking nail gun at you. It's hard, mate. Do you know what I mean? So I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. No matter what it is, everything happens for a reason. And all the struggles I went through, being made redundant, being unemployed and stuff like that, that's all took me here. Do you know what I mean? I'm much better off now, and that's all of that happened for a reason. Do you know what I mean?
For sure. And in terms of one of the things I was curious about, because a lot of people won't know this when they start a clothing brand, one of the biggest bottlenecks becomes cash, because you need to reinvest cash all the time into stock, and it's one of the most. It's hard, really hard to navigate. Me, I remember I was chatting about it. Harry, who I'm trying to get on the podcast as well. I remember him saying to me that like you just hit a threshold where you just need more cash. And I know there probably would have been a time for you where if that was the only bottleneck that you had, you'd probably been fucking buzzing because all you need is more cash from more stock.
Yep.
But I'm curious, 2 questions on this. Like, one, how have you navigated the kind of like lack of, not necessarily like, you've only got so much capital to work with. So every time you're buying a whole set of stock, you're spending everything the business has to get all this stock in, to then sell it, to then repeat the same process again. And how's that been for you? Has it been frustrating? Has it been like,
so it was working to begin with. Every bit of dough I had was going into stock, or I would leave a little bit for like some ads, or paying a photographer, or paying a model, or whatever. But once all of that's done, I'm left with stock. I've got all the pictures I need for the website, and I need that to sell out. Do you know what I mean? I've only got a little bit of money for ads. I've only got like a little bit of money for like, a model. So cash flow was the bottleneck. That was the hardest thing to work with, and it was sort of hard to navigate. Obviously, I put a lot more money into it, and I'll try all the time to put that. But I mean, I've got like a fucking mortgage. I need to keep my wife happy. I'm still fully employed. Like, I can't be putting in a crazy amount every month. I'm fucking putting in what I can.
Yeah.
So the bottleneck was cash, but that's when you start looking for and talking to investors and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
For sure, mate. Which I think is like.
Sorry, on you go.
On you go.
You can't be. To begin with, I was scared of that. I wanted this. This is 100% mine. I don't want fucking any cunt to take any of this. Do you know what I mean? This is my business. But you soon grow out of that and think, right, I'm competing against teams here. Like, my competitors are teams of people. This whole like lone wolf thing's not going to work. Do you know what I mean? I'm competing against teams. I need an investor. Does not sound that bad. So I've got an investor on board just now, and it's the next 6 months is going to be fucking crazy. It's a massive opportunity. It's going to go really well.
What was the main thing that, besides the kind of competitors mentality, what was the main things that are like that shifted your mindset towards pro investment, not having 100% of the pie?
Sort of just a bit of cluelessness. I think I thought it will take care of itself, and somehow I'll open my business bank account up one day, and there'll be loads of money in it that I can use for stuff like ads, models, photographers, and stuff like that. Soon grew out of that, like, that's not going to happen, because it got to a point where I was buying in, say, 150 garments every time, and I was left with the same money every time, because I give a lot of it away to obviously like influencers and stuff like that. I start spending more in ads, start spending stuff on like models, so I was left with the same amount of dough constant, and I just found it so difficult to scale. Why at that point scaling it became really difficult, and I thought, this is going to solve the bottleneck that I've got. That's the only thing I can think of that can help it. Do you know what I mean?
Because I think when you like, for a lot of people listening, like, margins on clothing will be relatively decent when you have a good supplier, but when you factor in photographers, models, influencers, ads, like anything of that nature, your margins quite quickly drop, which then once again, we spoke about this as well, like, you have investors that they'll have their own contacts they can leverage, they'll have their own expertise they can leverage, they'll have, I think one of the things I spoke to you about in the gym as well is like, the investor that we brought on, it was like, the cash is good, but it's like, I wanted his expertise. That was what I was more.
There is definitely, to begin with, when I first spoke to you about potentially taking on an investor, I was only looking at the money side, but you need a lot more than that. So, and I don't mind saying, I've partnered up with Limitless Fitness coming old, or James. James is now a partner of the company, but he's got like a huge expertise in business. Obviously, with how fucking well the gyms are doing, do you know what I mean? So it's not just cash that you need to look for; it's everything else that comes with that. Because again, as I said earlier, I'm learning. Do you know what I mean? I'm picking a lot of things up, but I am clueless when it comes to stuff like fucking accountants, lawyers, stuff like that, mate. Do you know what I mean? That's when I had those coming as well, but there's a level of expertise where a lot of things I struggle with, it's coming as well.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I think that's something that, like, not many people think about when they're in business as well. A lot of people like join YNL, they want the knowledge, they want access to the community, they want access to other people that can help them navigate and move forward, but also like the amount of investment opportunities that came through YNL, which I always communicate in the front end, like if that's solely why you want to join, it's probably not the right place for you to be there, because these things happen organically. Which I think is something that you're probably starting to learn too. A lot of this shit just happens organically when you are a good person, you build genuine relationships. Like,
that's what it's all about, is fucking, if there's people watching this sort of thinking about starting a business or have just started, it's all about building relationships, man. And in my experience as it is anyway, I mean, you'll pick stuff up as you go, mate. I'm fucking clueless when I started. I knew nothing about it, mate. I had to ask you how to create a limited company. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking like 3 buttons on the HMRC website or whatever. I knew nothing, but you're going to pick stuff up, and it's all about building relationships, mate. There's a lot of good people out there that will just help you. For example, you've obviously helped me a lot. Do you know what I mean? It's all about building relationships, I think, mate.
100%, mate. Without a doubt. So what's the plan, like, in general, like, moving forward for Reject Weakness?
For moving forward, mate, obviously, it's pretty self-explanatory what the brand stands for. Reject weakness, embrace strength. How often do you come across a brand that actually fucking means something? You know what I mean? This has got a meaning behind it, and a lot of people fuck with it, and they can take that into every aspect of life like I do. Do you know what I mean? I want to change the game a bit with gym clothing, and there's so many brands out there that fucking mean nothing. There's one like really close to home. It doesn't fucking mean anything. It's just a fucking 5-letter word, mate. It doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? So, if people fuck with it, people fuck with it, but I don't know. I want to change the game. I want to bring a fucking meaning behind something I want, and people already do. People wear this, and there's a certain feeling that comes with it. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to give you fucking superpowers, mate. But when you've got that logo on you, I feel in myself something that comes with it. Do you know what I mean? There's a meaning, a mindset behind it. A lot of people fuck with it that way, but I just want to change a game where it's not just a fucking oversized t-shirt with a name on it, mate. It actually means something, and hopefully a lot of people can fucking fuck with that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
and they do, mate.
Bro. No, they definitely do, mate.
That's just the plan moving forward, is just to try and change the game in that aspect and try and fucking scale as big as possible, mate. I'm not fucked about making a lot of money or making money just now. Like, obviously, at some point, it would be nice to be full time with it, but as long as I can make an impact and I'm still working at the gyms and people are fucking with the clothing, and hopefully the mindset that they're wearing on their back is taking that, they're taking that into every other aspect in life, hopefully. If I can see that happening, I'm happy, man.
And that's the shit. That's why I wanted to get in the podcast, mate, because I think a lot of people don't get to see the actual why behind it, and also how motivated and driven you are by the impact piece of other people sharing like the same vision as yourself. And that was one of the things I said to you in the gym, mate. I was like, you need to, whether it's through personal brand content or just through like some sort of vehicle in general, get you and like what you actually believe in out there. Which also was a discussion around how the podcast actually came about in the first place. But I think it's something that, like, when people are starting to hear this, mate, the buy-in becomes greater. And like you said at the start, like, clothing is a luxury, but people are buying new clothes all the time. And when you start to, like, even as an example, my little sister, it's my birthday coming up in 9 days, and she sent me a picture from a like clothing store that she was looking at, and she was like, what do you think of these? And I thought, like, they look cool. I was like, but I could just send you something from Dean's brand if you want. And she was like, yeah, that'd be class. And the main thought process, mate, is one, fuck with the brand, and fuck with yourself. And when it looks at like all these other brands, there's not really any of that vision behind a lot of them. I mean, you'll see one that has crushed and grown because of the vision, and that's Represent. Because George Heaton is like an absolute fucking monster of a guy.
Maniac, mate. I mean, the whole thing when he done the 24/7 stuff was, that obviously means like you need to keep fucking working hard, keep fucking going. he was away running ultras and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It's not fucking hard to find a supplier, come up with a name and put it in a t-shirt and try and like, do you know what I mean? That isn't hard. That's where I want to change it. I want to bring similar to what he's done, sort of, because that is a fucking, when you see people wearing that, you know what they're all about. Do you know what I mean? So it's not just an oversized t-shirt or joggers or a hoodie or whatever, like, with just a fucking name on it. I like this name, do you want to buy it? It's got a fucking meaning behind it. And obviously a lot of people are fucking with it, mate. So that's my background story with it. Being made redundant and fucking all the struggles with dough and all that. I was lying in my bed fucking crying, mate. Why has this happened to me, mate? Get up and fucking get on, mate. Fucking stop being a pussy, mate. Do you know what I mean? Reject weakness, man. Get fucking up and get it. So that's why I put it in a t-shirt, man, and hopefully people fuck with it. And they obviously are. Do you know what I mean? It's doing well.
You partner that with as well, like the gym environment. I think like Limitless as a gym very much has that kind of like vibe and brand about it that like when you're, I think it's one thing I've recognised, like if you go, because I know you trained there before as well, like you go to JD gyms and it's like just a piping environment to be in, mate.
Weird, very, very weird, mate. I mean, there's a lot of people that wear the brand up there, do you know what I mean? But I think that's just, I think they'll bounce between, but it's, you're going to, if I was to stick there and try and promote the brand in there, it'd get fucking nowhere, mate. Commercial gyms like that are fucking horrible. Do you know what I mean?
And I think that's a big thing, like hats off to James and what he's built, because I think the actual, like I go to Limitless because the equipment was fucking nuts. I was like, this is just crazy. And two, it was like 2 minutes from my old gaff. But actual being there, the environment, every time I go in, I see somebody that I know, it's a good chat. I just hope sometimes that I don't bump into people when it's a work day, because I need to be back. I remember, I think it was Andrew Meeky came up to me at one point and he was asking me a couple of questions about stuff and I was like, I'm so sorry, bro, like I need to pump this last set out and bounce. I've got a call in like 10 minutes. And I was a podcast, I tried a podcast and he was like, you think you're going to get there on time? And I was like, fuck knows.
35 you will, man.
But yeah, no, I think the actual brand itself like stands for something, and you've got it in almost like an industry that is a great collaboration tool. So like the gym plus this brand, like both of them like really fucking align really well, mate. So I think you've crushed it, man.
Definitely, man. I think it'll go well. I just need to push the meaning out there a little bit more. But aye, bro,
for sure,
killing it, man.
What's the plan? Are you like off the back of this podcast? Are you going to want to do more personal brand content? Can people expect that from you? Or are you just going to keep pushing Reject Weakness as a brand?
No, I'll profile. It's finding time, mate. Like I put a lot of my time into. Obviously, I got a full-time job. I put a lot of my time into this, but it's. I mean, I've tried it before. I bought a camera and stuff, and I've tried to do more personal content, promote the brand that way. But if I'm saying to my wife, right, I've been working 12 hours, I came in for an hour and worked on Reject Weakness, I'm going to the gym now. That'll be an extra hour in the gym because I need to keep setting a camera up and filming all the sets and come home and editing it and that. That's when you sort of get your balls booted, mate, you know what I mean? So it's just finding time to do that, mate. But definitely more personal branding will come, mate. I'll be happy to do another one of these, and hopefully at the start I don't shit myself in the next one, mate.
Don't be daft for your sweet.
But I fucking more personal branding will definitely come. It's just trying to deal with everything. There's a lot going on in the background. I mean, I've got a lot on myself with my wife, fucking host a full-time job. But I'm confident and I know that I can tackle all these things. And it was something that gave me more confidence. A good friend Harry Young says to me was, the tools are heavy, but they'll feel light in your hand. Do you know what I mean? That gave me a sort of, that stuck with me. I know that I'm confident in myself that I'll be able to tackle all of this and I can do it. You know what I mean?
100%, mate. I fucking love that, bro. So in terms of where people can find yourself and the brand, Instagram primarily, have you got any other platforms as well?
Just Instagram, bro.
Just Instagram?
Yep.
And what's the handle if you want to just...
At RJCT WKNSS.
Nice.
Reject Weakness, man. No vowels. I've got a TikTok and stuff like that, but it's just Instagram, man.
Yeah, awesome. Well, troops, if you're interested in the brand as well, I'll put a link in the description for you to actually go and check out Instagram and also the website as well, which I'm not sure if you'll have any stock left by Monday, but
we'll see.
If you do, be sure to check out Troops. Obviously, this is one of the new drops in it. That's literally coming
acid drop,
now,
man.
Which is class, and you've got sweaters as well. Other garments, zippers soon come as well. But honestly, brother, thank you so much for coming on, mate. It's been fucking class to unravel a bit more behind a brand that a lot of people, I think anyone around Glasgow has been seeing the brand and probably curious about like how it even started in the first place, what it truly stands for, and I think you've clearly communicated it today, mate. So
hopefully, sorry if I've waffled a lot of shit, man. Nervous at the start, but hopefully I sort of get the meaning out there a little bit more. And if I did, Aye, hopefully you fuck with it, man.
Defos, bro. We'll do a part 2 when you're fucking, when the numbers are crazy, mate, and you've left your job and shit like that.
Hopefully, bro.
But Trips, if you're on YouTube, obviously got episodes rolling out like weekly at the moment. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to make sure that you're staying tuned for the episodes. The feedback have been class for a lot of the pods as well recently, which has been awesome. And if you're on Spotify, be sure to follow so you're seeing the content regularly as well. And as always, Trips, go on and have an incredible rest of your day.